Hi guys, let me be brutally honest for a second. We live in a society where men are being forced to take a back seat and are almost being numbed and neutered into a less masculine shell of themselves. None of this is done by accident. As women rush out to fill their spots in society, we're seeing men being emasculated, living inside a culture that's becoming increasingly feminized. That's what you see at every single level, from the family unit and the career ladder to the intricate legalities that govern our behavior and relationships. I want you to connect the dots because in society's effort to tear down the so-called patriarchy, they're actually creating female-focused society where women directly benefit from emasculating men and their roles. And let me tell you how. First, look at it this way. Throughout all of human history, women have needed the protection and provision of men, but only in recent decades has there been a competition for this role. It stems from a welfare system that's increasingly undermining a man's place in a woman's life, rendering him obsolete. When you think about it, why wouldn't women prefer a setup like this? For millions of women today, including the 15 million or so single mothers, the state acts as the masculine provider with very few of the hard lines that come with a man being in the house. Things like loyalty, responsibility, and burden of expectations. It leaves little incentive for her to pick the right man and actually stick by him. And it gives her a safety net for all of her bad decisions while the man falls by the wayside because he's now unneeded. Do you see the bad incentive structure it sets up? It's something you can track back to the mid-20th century to the American welfare policy known as the man in the house laws. It was a straightforward measure used by the government to determine who morally qualified for welfare benefits. The question was, is there a man in the house who can provide financially? As you can imagine, the men in impoverished and desperate households faced one of the most humiliating choices ever. Find a way to make ends meet no matter what, or split from their own families so they qualify for government welfare benefits. Men had to make the hard decision to leave their homes and families so the government could then step in and provide. I can't imagine how emasculating that must have been for the man. Being disposed of from their natural role as men and letting a government then step in and provide for their family instead. Imagine how hard it was for the man to almost act like that he didn't even exist. All while their women still had a solid provider in the form of a government check. You'll rarely hear about this in today's feminist reading of history, but the laws show us how women benefited from gender stereotypes because they themselves were not expected to be the providers. But stealing a man's masculinity for benefit goes even further than taking away his ability to provide. In the United States today, tens of billions of dollars flow in the form of child support payments, and 85% of that go from the fathers to the children's mother. Ironically, the legal obligation for child support, coupled with the strict custody and visitation rights, effectively reduce men to being just financial providers and nothing more. Think about the blow to these men's self-esteem and masculinity, realizing that their money might just be funding the mother's lifestyle with another man. Most states in the US use a percentage basis for calculating child support payments, which can go as high as 30%. Men earning even a moderately high income are fully aware that a third of their life's work goes towards maintaining the woman's lifestyle once the child's necessities are covered. And it's a sticky legal web that a lot of men are trapped in because they fear going to jail if they stop payments, or they fear having their professional licenses suspended if they don't pay up each month. Emasculating men also extends on a larger scale to family and society. As women in their droves join men in the office workplace, we're also witnessing a collapse of the traditionally masculine and competitive behaviors usually found in all male work environments. From things like gender appropriate language and sensitivity training, it's a kind of feminization or softening you up you see in the workplace to accommodate the women. Back at home, men that aren't able to hold their own as the leader of the family see their role being taken over by the woman, who then shapes the children in her mold and seizes as much control as she can in the household. Then you take a look at how women today readily put their bodies on the internet on display to make money off of emasculated men. And this is a recurring theme that goes something like this. A man stripped of his inherent qualities like determination, discipline, and a sense of duty becomes a shadow of his former self. In this weakened state, he becomes easily manipulated and a pawn in the hands hands of any woman who wants to exploit him for her gain. It's a dynamic where traditional masculinity is not just undermined, but inverted, leaving men susceptible to being used as tools for these women's financial gain. This isn't just about gender equality, it's a strategic reduction of men's roles for certain benefit. Men are increasingly positioned as secondary, leaving their inherent strengths and values undervalued. This shift isn't just a concern for men, it's a societal issue that needs attention and understanding from all of us. It's time we seriously assess these dynamics and their long-term impact on our society. So with that being said, until the next video, I'll see you guys later.